Good afternoon and welcome to CSI Sportsnet for exclusive NCAA Division III men's soccer coverage. Today's matchup features the Dolphins of the College of Staten Island taking on the Ducks of Stevens Institute. Both teams come into this afternoon's match playing very well. The Dolphins have only suffered one defeat in their last 7 games, winning 5 of those 7 games. Stevens Institute also comes in playing very well. They have won 5 of their last 6 games. So both teams, Mike, come in playing very well this afternoon. Of course, Mike being Mike Babuski, my colleague, this afternoon with the call of today's match. Mike, what do you think the Dolphins have to do to come away with a victory over a team that comes in playing very well?
Well, the Dolphins have been playing very well, Joe, as you mentioned, throughout their last group of games. And, the key for the Dolphins has been their defense all year long. This is a team that has allowed just 9 goals through 14 games. And, a couple of those games they had allowed multiple goals. So, the Dolphins continue to play very well defensively. And if they can continue that strong defensive effort and match it with the kind of offensive production they got on Saturday against Bard, really good things could happen for the Dolphins here this afternoon.
Absolutely, and in addition to that solid Dolphins defense, they've had very strong performance in goal throughout the entirety of this 2016 season. Jake Foldis has a goals allowed average of only .53. He saved 42 shots and allowed only 6 goals with a save percentage approaching 88% on the season. We talked about the Dolphins defense a bit. We talked about the goaltending. Also, the Dolphins attack has been very strong. And someone who's come on for the Dolphins recently after getting off to a slow start in the goal-scoring department is Adrian Kosovic. He was the hero against Hunter College this past weekend. What do you like that you've seen from Adrian?
Yeah, Adrian has been able to pick up goals in the last 3 games. 2 of them were game-winning goals. And, he's played really well. He's played well for the Dolphins all season long, Joe. He started out playing very well in the first couple of games, getting a lot of good chances on goal, but really wasn't able to break through. Then he had that big breakout game against York College when he scored 4 goals, and those were his first 4 goals of the season. Then he kind of hit a little bit of a scoring drought, but he's really picked it up of late. 3 big goals, that huge goal against Hunter College that you mentioned in the last minute of that contest. A big goal, picked up a goal in the game against Bard College as well. So he's really playing well, and, something that the Dolphins need, because Kosovic adds size and speed and strength to the front of that Dolphin lineup, and between them, the way the back lineup is playing, and Jake Foldis at goal, Dolphins are playing really well, and they need to be, Joe, because they have a contest coming up Saturday against Lehman College that will determine whether or not they're going to have any opportunity at a first-round bye.
Absolutely, Mike, and very big conference matchups coming up during the remainder of the schedule for the Dolphins. Those matchups include games against Lehman and John Jay. But on the topic of goal scoring, as we talked about Adrian Kosovic, there is an injury for the Dolphins as Marcin Klim will not be in the lineup for CSI this afternoon, not in the starting lineup, and will not play due to a knee injury sustained against Hunter College on October 5th. So Klim out of the lineup, making it even more important for players like Adrian Kosovic to score for the Dolphins. And once again, on the topic of scoring, I take a look at the scoring for both teams so far this season. CSI has scored 26 goals. Their opponents only 9 goals against them this season. As for the Ducks of Stevens Institute, so far this season, they have scored 18 goals and allowed the opposition to score 13 goals. However, those numbers a little bit misleading as you look at one of the common opponents. The only common opponent between these two teams was the College at New Jersey. The Dolphins, with a very poor day, a poor showing on that particular day, they were outshot 33-5, lost the game by a score of 3-1, and Stevens Institute played the College at New Jersey very close. They actually won the game 3-1. The stats would indicate a much closer game than that, both teams with 13 shots in that one. So you look at that matchup, and despite the goal disparity being in favor of the Dolphins for the season, that matchup against the College at New Jersey certainly looks to favor Stevens Institute and the Ducks here this afternoon. So we'll see how this one plays out, but the only common opponent once again being the College at New Jersey. Stevens Institute winning 3-1, the Dolphins losing 3-1.
Yeah, Joe, that was a game that the Dolphins fell behind 1-0, but were able to tie the game up 1-1 in the second half. And the Kosovic goal, that was the first of his 3 consecutive games scoring goals. And then the College of New Jersey scored a back-breaking goal less than a minute later in that game to take a 2-1 lead, and they were able to close it out with a goal in the later stages of the game. So you're right, Joe, the Dolphins were outplayed territorially in that game, and they were certainly outshot by a wide margin. But again, you talk to the coaching staff and head coach John Tardy, and he felt that after the Kosovic Bowl, the team was in good shape, and really kind of after allowing that quick goal less than a minute later, the team took a step back. But the good news is that the Dolphins have been able to go on a winning streak since that game.
They have, and that game was very uncharacteristic of the Dolphins. They have played much better than that throughout this season and have had strong showings against very talented teams, one of those being number 6 Rowan University. That game also resulting in a 3-1 defeat, but the Dolphins played much better than that score would indicate. So, Mike, you did mention the conference matchups upcoming for the Dolphins for the remainder of the season, including matchups against Lehman and John Jay. We'll take a quick look at the CUNYAC standings for the men. Hunter atop the CUNYAC standings right now with a record of 5-2-0. However, by virtue of a Dolphins victory over the Hawks, they would possess the tiebreaker, and should the Dolphins win out, they would surpass at the very least Hunter and Lehman College. So they really can guarantee themselves a top 2 position in the CUNYAC by winning out in their conference schedule the remainder of this season. However, by virtue of a victory over the Dolphins, CCNY would possess the tiebreaker over CSI. So the Dolphins do not control their own fate in terms of securing a regular season CUNYAC championship. The Beavers, right behind the Dolphins in the standings, actually tied with the Dolphins in the standings, and by virtue of that tiebreaker would really be positioned ahead of them right now.
Yeah, and Joe, if we take a little bit of a sneak look ahead at the schedule coming up over the weekend, CCNY will be playing John Jay. Hunter will be playing Brooklyn College. CSI will travel to Lehman for a 2:30 contest in the Bronx, and Medgar Evers will play York. So there are games on the schedule this Saturday, several big games, and then the regular season will wrap up the following Wednesday. CSI will play John Jay, CCNY will play Brooklyn, Baruch will play York, and Medgar Evers will play Lehman College. And, we've seen most of these teams play, Joe, and, a lot of these games are very close games, and anything could happen. And, as you mentioned earlier, Marcin Klim out of the lineup. You never know from game to game what you're going to bring into the following game. 2 games of CUNYAC conference play is basically 25% of the season. So still a lot could happen between now and next Tuesday.
Absolutely, Mike. A lot to be decided atop the CUNYAC. There's really nothing set in stone as of yet, but the Dolphins still have a game to get through here this afternoon against Stevens Institute before those matchups against Lehman and John Jay. We're about 5 minutes until the announcement of the starting lineup, so we'll take a look at the starting lineups for just a moment and then bring you the national anthem once those starting lineups are read aloud over the public address system. So my colleague Mike Bebuski has the starting lineup for both teams.
Thanks a lot, Joe. First for the Stevens Institute Ducks, Mitso Bazanov will be in goal. The remainder of the lineup for the Ducks: number 2, Jay McCullough; number 3, Nicholas Kusalis; number 6, Patrick Masor; number 8, Jimmy Duran; number 10, Nick DeFelice; number 13, Daniel Aversano; number 16, David Valian; number 21, Andrew Masor; number 22, Tommy Dorsey; and number 23, Patrick Boyan. The Ducks are coached by Dale Jordan. Assistant coach is James Hall. For the College of Staten Island, no real surprises in the starting lineup today. As Joe mentioned earlier, Marcin Klim not available due to an injury suffered in the Hunter College game, and his status for Saturday at this moment is uncertain. Jake Foldis will be in goal. The remainder of the starting lineup for the Dolphins: number 3, Nerman Cortese; number 5, Mohamed Endow; number 6, Danny Narka; number 7, Eli Papaniku; number 9, Ali Fairs; number 10, Peter Hanna; number 12, Ruben Diaz; number 14, Jacob Zumanski; number 17, Adrian Kosovic; and number 23, Mike Arianis. And, Joe, we mentioned a lot of times throughout the season how young the Dolphins were, but on senior day we saw 9 seniors go up and get honored for their home game here at the CSI Soccer Complex. So a lot of young talent coming in, but certainly a lot of talent getting ready to graduate.
And as I look down the Dolphins roster, I'll list those seniors for you right now. The seniors include Nerman Cortese, Marcin Klim, Mohamed Endow, Eli Paperniku, Peter Hanna, Ruben Diaz, Jacob Sumansky, Rustam Jumayev, and Antonio Lynch. Those are the senior players for the Dolphins. We've talked a lot about the Dolphins players, so let's talk about some of the players on this Stevens Institute Ducks roster. We talked about the Dolphins playing goal from Jake Foldis. It's been solid all season. The Ducks have used 2 players in goal so far this season, Mitko Bazanov and Aaron Henry. Aaron Henry has started the majority of the games in goal for the Ducks. He's had a very good season, a goals allowed average of about .7. He's allowed 5 goals and saved 24 shots with a save percentage just under 83. So solid play in goal for the Ducks as well to counter the goalkeeping of Jake Foldis for the Dolphins.
Yeah, so Bozinoff will be in goal, Joe, for the Ducks here this afternoon, and he's coming in with a record of 3-1 on the season. So, you know, he's played pretty well for the Ducks as well. And, you know, taking a look at this Duck team, you know, they play in a tough conference and play a tough schedule, and they're coming in with a 6-4-1 record. And, you know, one of the things you notice, Joe, as you look down the scores of the Duck games, a lot of tight games, 1-0, 2-1 kind of games. And, you know, I have a feeling that this is going to be that kind of game as well. It's going to be 1-0, 2-1 type of game. It's going to be played very close to the vest. And, you know, the Dolphins need to do what they do, which is play really solid defense, keep the Ducks off the scoreboard, and look for an opportunity with a lot of their talented players up front. As far as defensively, the Ducks really they've scored 18 goals on the year, Joe. 12 of those goals have come from 3 players: Patrick Massaw, Daniel Aversano, and Tommy Dorsey. They've scored 5, 3, and 4 goals respectively. That's who the Dolphins need to focus on defensively, and you know, look for a really good, exciting non-conference game. But the game where the rubber meets the road will be taking place over the next couple of days.
Absolutely, Mike, and this game should be a very competitive game. You mentioned all of the numbers for the Ducks offensively. Only 3 players have scored more than a single goal for the Ducks. You mentioned 5, 3, and 4 those players: Patrick Masser, Daniel Aversano, and Tommy Dorsey. So 3 players, as you said, Mike, scoring 12 of the 18 goals scored by the Ducks this season. They have averaged 1.64 goals per game so far this season, while allowing 1.18 goals per game. So that's really the rundown of the Ducks, and we're going to step aside for just a couple of minutes and take a break as we get set for the starting lineups to be read aloud here over the public address system. We'll rejoin you with the playing of the national anthem, and then after that, we will pick up the call of the Ducks and the Dolphins here on CSI Sportsnet.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tight.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
You've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet, just moments away from the opening kickoff between the Dolphins of the College of Staten Island and the Ducks of Stevens Institute. The Dolphins come in with a record of 8-4-2, 4-1-1 in their conference. The CUNYAC Stevens comes in with a record of 6-4-1 with a 3-1-0 record in their conference, the Empire 8. And Mike, we talked about it at length during the pregame, what the Dolphins need to do here in order to come away with a victory. What do you think is the most important key to the game for the Dolphins?
Well, you know, Joe, for the CSI Dolphins, everything really starts with defense. And you know, where the defense has had their falters throughout the season. Jake Folders has been there in goal. And, you know, I expect a real tight game here this afternoon, a 1-0 or 2-1 tight game. And, you know, the Dolphins are going to need strong play in goal, strong play defensively, keep the game scoreless, look for their opportunities to score, and try to take advantage of that versatile attack they have up front. Of course, they're playing a very talented team in Stevens as well, so it should be a really exciting game. This is the final home game for the Dolphins this year, Joe, for the men's team here against Stevens Institute. And, you know, I'm sure the Dolphins want to close out the home season with a win. They're 7-2-2 at home this year, a lot of home games for the Dolphins this year, so they'd like to finish this one out with a big non-conference win against Stevens Institute.
They absolutely would love to close out the season here at home with a victory over Stevens. And you have to like the Dolphins' chances if they're able to score 2 goals in this game. Stevens averaging under 2 goals a game. They've allowed 13 goals on the season, an average of only 1.18 goals allowed so far for them this season. The Dolphins have held opponents to .64 goals per game this season while scoring 1.86 goals per game themselves. So if the Dolphins can continue that trend and maintain that kind of goal disparity throughout the rest of the season, you have to like their chances to run the table and hopefully secure the top spot in their CUNYAC conference. But with 2 conference matchups upcoming, we'll talk about that at a later date. And if we don't have another broadcast during the regular season, we may be with you for the CUNYAC tournament should the Dolphins advance deep into that. And we're set to get underway here at the CSI Soccer Complex. Dolphins and Ducks coming up here on CSI Sportsnet. And Stevens will possess the ball first, quickly play it up the field, and that's Eli Paperniku who heads the ball away toward the far sideline. Mike Arianis plays it back to him just outside the Dolphins' penalty area. The ball moved over to Jacob Sumansky and then Ruben Diaz. He moves up toward midfield. His pass is intercepted by the Ducks. David Valian plays the ball back to Patrick Boylan, who then plays it toward the box. Nicholas Casillas with the ball for the Ducks. Back over to Boylan. He moves it over to Masser and right back to Boylan once again. Boylan plays it over to the near sideline. That's David Valian, and Boylan has it once again off the pass from Valian, who plays it up toward midfield. And that's Andrew Masser, who then kicks the ball out over the far sideline. It will be a throw-in for the Dolphins.
Yeah, and, you know, Joe, Stevens on that possession really just passing the ball around in the back line, looking to see how the Dolphins are going to fan out and move across the field, and then try to figure out how they're going to counterattack that in the next few minutes.
And we saw that from a very talented Rowan University team early in the season, really probing the Dolphins' defense and moving the ball around, as it will be the Ducks who play the ball up ahead and headed by Zumansky toward midfield. Recovered by Masser of the Ducks. Challenged by Arianis. And Eli Paperniku now trying to gain possession for the Dolphins. He's being challenged by Tommy Dorsey along the far sideline. And it will be a throw-in for the Ducks. That one's thrown in toward the far corner of the penalty area. Danny Nika plays the ball toward midfield for the Dolphins. Kosovic plays it back toward him, and Nika's pass is intercepted. Quickly countering are the Ducks. Moving in toward the penalty area is Aversano. And it's Mohamed Endow who comes away with it for the Dolphins.
Yeah, that was a very dangerous play that time. Aversano was able to get the ball in, and he had a lot of room, and I thought he might have been better off taking the shot towards goal, Joe, but instead he tried to work the ball across, and Endow made a nice play to block the shot. But a nice play springing Aversano loose, and something the Dolphins are going to have to watch out there. A quick turnover on the Dolphins side of the field led to a big scoring opportunity for the Ducks.
And Nika's pass being intercepted is what led to that opportunity for the Ducks, as that one's played up the field, kicked a long distance by Dolphins goalkeeper Jake Foldis. The headed attempt missed by Kosovic as he tried to come down with that ball, and it's now the Ducks who will take possession of it. Once again playing it back toward the box. It's Patrick Boylan with the ball now, moving toward midfield, then turns back toward his own goal and passes it across over to midfield now. It's Andrew Masser with the ball for the Ducks. He plays it up the far sideline, and then once again played up the field over to Nick DeFelice. He's dispossessed by the Dolphins. It's Eli Paparniku. Dolphins playing it quickly up the far sideline, and that pass by Peter Hanna too long for Mike Arianis, throwing up coming for the Ducks.
Yeah, and one thing you could see immediately, Joe, is the Ducks are a technically skilled team. They move up the field methodically in little triangles as they try to attack the Dolphin defense and send one player up high and one player cutting in behind them.
And we'll have our first foul call of the game as Nika is called for the foul against Andrew Masser. The free kick taken quickly as the Ducks move in toward the penalty area. They play the ball toward the far sideline. And number 6 for the Ducks, Patrick Masser, plays it back. And coming in toward midfield is Nicholas Casillas to recover it for the Ducks. Plays it back to Boylan once again. Along the near sideline, it's Valian for the Ducks, and he plays it back toward his own goal once again. Casillas has it. Passes up toward midfield. Masser with the ball. And back over to Valian along the near sideline once again. Valiant's pass intercepted by Ali Fairs, but right back over to Patrick Boylan. The Ducks will reset once again. Pass from Valiant toward midfield, over to Masser, and the Dolphins clear the ball once again back towards the Ducks' goal. It's Boylan with the ball for the Ducks. Passes it back up toward midfield. DeFelice plays it right back to Boylan. Now over to the near sideline with it is Valiant. Plays it back again towards his own goal. It's Casillas. Casillas dribbles the ball up toward midfield and plays it back to Patrick Boylan, who then passes over to the near sideline for Valiant. David Valiant's pass over toward midfield, sliding attempt by Peter Hanna to break it up. It was recovered by Jay McCula, and then played back up the field by Patrick Boylan once again. Ali Fairs gains possession for the Dolphins. Peter Hanna with the ball passes over to Cortese, back to Fairs. Ruben Diaz plays the ball over to Jacob Sumansky. And Sumansky with a long pass up the field, looking for Adrian Kosovic, but Patrick Boylan is there for the Ducks. David Valian with the ball for Stevens now. He plays it back over to Nicholas Casillas, back to Boylan. Boylan over to the near sideline, it's Valian. Passes up over to Patrick Masser. That one chipped up toward midfield. Ali Fairs gains possession for the Dolphins, plays it over to Nerman Cortese. Back to Ruben Diaz, who was looking for Adrian Kosovic. That pass is intercepted, and a foul is called. That foul is called against the Dolphins. It will be a free kick for the Ducks.
Yeah, Joe, so we played just about 6 minutes here in the first half. The Ducks a little bit steadier on the attack. The Dolphins, a couple little unsteady plays in the back. Just need to get their feet underneath them, settle down a little bit.
We've always talked about the importance of maintaining possession and controlling the ball. The Ducks have done that so far, really probing this Dolphins defense, methodically passing the ball from sideline to sideline using the entire pitch. As it's Casillas with the ball, plays it toward the near sideline. That's Patrick Boylan who has it. He's challenged by Kosovic, and Kosovic knocks the ball away over the near sideline. Throw-in coming for the Ducks. Coming over to take the throw-in for the Ducks is David Valian. And he throws the ball toward the midfield stripe. Backheeled by Ali Fairs. Peter Hanna now has possession for the Dolphins, being challenged by Masser. Nerman Cortese passes the ball up to Adrian Kosovic. Kosovic looking for Cortese once again. Peter Hanna comes up with it. Cortese making a break toward the touchline. Crosses one in toward goal, and that is recovered easily by Bozanov.
So Bozanov, the freshman keeper, gets his first touch of the afternoon.
Andrew Masser with the ball for the Ducks. His pass intercepted by Ruben Diaz. Diaz passes up to Danny Nika. Nika dribbling, passes toward the near sideline over to Nerman Cortesi. Cortesi back to Nika, and Nika looks to pass one in toward the penalty area. It's knocked away off the foot of a Ducks defender, and it will be a corner kick upcoming for the Dolphins.
Yeah, that was a nice play that time by Cortesi to work the ball down the sideline. He really didn't have anywhere to go, and to end up with a corner on that play, Joe, was a good play.
First corner kick of the game for the Dolphins. First corner kick of the game overall. It will be Ali Fairs to take it. And the corner from Fairs is headed away by number 3 for the Ducks, Nicholas Casillas, but I believe offside was called on the Dolphins. Will be a free kick for the Ducks.
Yeah, so the Dolphins get called for the violation. I think it might have been a foul on Kosovic, Joe, but either way, it ends up with a free kick for the Ducks.
And the whistle will give the Ducks the free kick to be taken by the goalkeeper, Mitko Bozanov. Out toward midfield, headed by number 21, Andrew Masser. The ball finds the foot of David Valian. Valian plays it back to Patrick Boylan, who is challenged by Adrian Kosovic. A foul is called against Kosovic, and Boylan will take a free kick for Stevens.
Yeah, that time Adrian went right through the Duck player and picked up the foul.
Andrew Masser passes up toward midfield to Patrick Masser. And a long pass up the field. And offsides was called against the Ducks by the lines judge along the near sideline. Free kick for the Dolphins.
Yeah, Aversano tried to get behind Diaz on that play, got a little bit ahead of the play and offside. So the Ducks will draw their first offsides, and the Dolphins will get the free kick.
Aversano had the opportunity earlier for the Ducks, moving in toward the penalty area, electing not to shoot. The free kick taken by Ruben Diaz played toward the final third of the field. Kosovic and Hanna went after it for the Dolphins, but the Ducks come away with it, looking to move up the near sideline. Back toward midfield with the ball is Patrick Masser. Along the near sideline with it now is Jay Mikula. He passes back toward midfield to Andrew Masser and over to Nick DeFelice. Felice gives the ball up along the far sideline, and it's played into the penalty area toward a breaking Daniel Aversano, and that ball is over the touchline. I believe the official along the near sideline, the lines judge once again calling it offside against the Ducks.
Yeah, that time the Ducks offsides a second time, Joe, and you know they're making dangerous runs. They just mistimed the last couple, and Aversano was the guilty party once again, but the Ducks looking to get behind the Dolphin defense, time the run, put a high ball up behind the defense, and try to break in towards goal.
And it was a good ball there by Jimmy Duran. He was the one who played that ball up into the penalty area toward the breaking Daniel Aversano of the Ducks. But Aversano ruled offsides once again, so it will be the Ducks now with possession as that one's played far up the field. Jacob Szymanski there for the Dolphins. Mohamed Endow has it now. He's being challenged by Andrew Masser. Endow moving back toward his own goal. Ali Fairs takes the drop-off from Endow. And Fairs will have his pass intercepted by David Valian. Valian with a slide tackle attempt knocks the ball away from Mohamed Endow. This one played up the far sideline. Number 22, Tommy Dorsey with the ball for the Ducks. He's challenged by Eli Paperniku. He goes down, and recovering the ball right along the touchline is Jacob Szymanski. The Ducks come away with possession once again. Ali Fairs going after it. And that one's cleared away by Ruben Diaz of the Dolphins. Throwing upcoming for Stevens.
Yeah, the Ducks doing a very nice job pinning the Dolphins deep inside their defensive territory. They've really controlled all the play in midfield. And, you know, when the balls have been played out for grab in midfield, it seems like the Ducks come away with almost every ball, Joe.
Certainly been that way so far, Mike, as once again it is the Ducks with the ball along the far sideline. Dribbling it was Jimmy Duran. Dispossessed by the Dolphins, and moving up the far sideline with it was Danny Nika for just a moment, and it's Duran who comes up and takes the ball from him. Pass up the field by Nick DeFelice, intercepted by the Dolphins. The ball goes straight up in the air, and a foul is called against the Dolphins. Free kick upcoming for the Ducks.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be on Kosovic. I think that might be his third foul already, Joe, through the first 11 and a half minutes.
And Kosovic's been very aggressive, going for the ball around that midfield area, strongly challenging the ball handlers for the Ducks, as Peter Hanna backheeled that one toward midfield, and Kosovic, I believe, will be called for a foul once again. That would be his fourth, assuming our estimate of 3 fouls for him already is correct. I don't have a number on the player down for the Ducks as Kosovic gets a talking to from the head referee.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the final one that Adrian's going to be allowed, Joe. And if he commits another foul, he's probably going to get a card. So he needs to play a little more careful. But, you like the way Kosovic's playing. He's one of the few Dolphin players that have come out and played aggressively here in the first half. You like the aggressive part, but you got to take the fouls out of the equation.
Absolutely. You don't want the aggressiveness to turn into fouls. The player down for Stevens Institute was Andrew Masser.
Sorry, Joe, the official's just going to move the ball back a little.
Will be a free kick upcoming for the Ducks. Taking the free kick will be Patrick Masser. Setting things up in the penalty area are the Ducks. Here comes the free kick off the foot of Masser. And that one got in behind. It looked like Peter Hanna. A nice sliding clearance there by Jacob Sumansky. It looked like there was an opening for number 22, Tommy Dorsey.
Yeah, the Ducks do a nice job with their long passing, and we were watching them warm up right in front of us during the pregame, and they were standing on either side of the field, knocking the ball back and forth to each other. The Dolphins got to be careful with that. The Ducks like the long balls, and they like to time their runs to break in behind the defense.
Long throw in by Jay McCullough, cleared out of the penalty area by the Dolphins. Adrian Kosovic last to touch for the Dolphins at midfield, and Ollie Fairs with a bit of a shove there along the sideline. The player who went down for Stevens was number 16, David Valiant, and Fairs helping him up after that spill.
Yeah, again, the Dolphins need to be a little bit more careful here, Joe. That was, it wasn't necessarily a vicious foul that time by Ali, but it was an unnecessary touch, and there was really no reason to do it. And, the Dolphins need to take that out of the equation and channel their aggression into effective soccer play.
They certainly need to get on top of eliminating these fouls, Mike, as the Dolphins have really come out with what seems like a lot of pent-up energy in this game, and they're taking it out in the form of very aggressive defense, which is translating into foul calls against them. You certainly don't want that. It is the Dolphins with possession along the far sideline. Eli Paparniku plays it up toward Danny Nika, his intended target of that pass. And that one's quickly intercepted by the Ducks and played back toward midfield. Tommy Dorsey with the ball now, being challenged by Mohamed Ndow. He gets past him, passes the ball over toward the far sideline and quickly played back toward the center of the field. And a long strike there by Nick DeFelice just over the crossbar. A very strong shot there by DeFelice, the first shot of the game for the Ducks.
Yeah, and, Joe, we played about 15 minutes now in the first half, and although that really is going to be the first shot credited towards goal, you could see Stevens has been dangerous on a few plays here so far.
They've really controlled possession so far and have dominated the first quarter hour of this first half. Have looked really good doing it. The Dolphins haven't had the ball across midfield much. They did get a corner kick earlier, and that's pretty much been the extent of the Dolphins' attack. It's Peter Hanna with the ball and looks to pass it up along the near sideline to Danny Nika. It's intercepted by the Ducks, and it's Patrick Boylan who plays it over toward goal. Nicholas Casillas has it in the box, back over to Boylan. And Boylan looking to push that ball far up the field toward midfield off the leg of Adrian Kosovic. It's a throw-in for the Ducks. The throw-in off the chest of Nick DeFelice, recovered by Peter Hanna, who quickly turns it over. The Dolphins regain possession once again. Just beyond midfield, it's played back over to Paparniku right along the midfield stripe. Peter Hanna with it. Back over to Paparniku. Arianis receives the ball along the far sideline. He goes down, no foul called, and the Ducks will look to move it past midfield now. DeFelice lost his footing there, challenged by Nika. Nika blocks the pass attempt. And then back over to the back line of the Ducks. They play it up the field. The Dolphins recover it, though, and it's Ollie Fairs moving into the attacking third now for CSI. Fairs dribbles and passes over to Ndow, right in the middle of the pitch, over to Nika. And Nika plays one toward Arianis. A good ball there, a little bit too far. Not a bad idea, and it's recovered by the goalkeeper for the Ducks, Mitko Bozanov.
Yeah, nice play that time by the Dolphins, moving the ball out to draw out the second line of the Stevens defense and trying to pass the ball behind it. Unfortunately, the pass just a little bit too hard.
And the Ducks exchanging headers between two of their players. The ball recovered by Ruben Diaz, passed up over to Norman Cortese, who's dispossessed quickly by David Valian. Valian moves over toward the center of the pitch, and that's Nick DeFelice, who fires one into the corner. That one's crossed into the box, and it looked like it got deflected off the foot of Tommy Dorsey, saved by Jake Foldis. And Foldis will throw one out toward the far sideline. Paparniku there for the Dolphins. Eli's quickly dispossessed by Daniel Aversano, who's moving in toward the penalty area, and that one is fired toward goal and ricochets hard off Jake Foldis over the touchline. It will be a corner for the Ducks.
Yeah, and that time it was the turnover by Paparniku that led to the big scoring opportunity for the Ducks. And, you know, the Ducks have done a nice job putting a lot of pressure on the Dolphin defense and have forced a couple of turnovers deep inside Dolphin territory. That one leads to a corner kick.
Second corner of the game, first for the Ducks. Each team now with one corner kick. It will be Patrick Masser to take the corner for Stevens, and that one gets by along the far post and moving toward the corner along the near sideline. A nice sliding tackle there by Peter Hanna to dispossess Tommy Dorsey. It will be a throw-in.
Stevens continuing to put all kinds of pressure on the Dolphin defense, Joe.
And a long throw-in snagged out of the air by Jake Foldis. And the Dolphins will look to get an attack started here. The possession so far in this first half has been dominated by Stevens Institute. It's punted out toward midfield by Foldis, and it's the Ducks who recover it once again. And Eli Paparniku took a bad angle toward that ball, and taking a shot there was Daniel Aversano, just wide of the near post, and nearly a costly turnover there for the Dolphins.
Yeah, and that was Paparniku with the turnover again, his second in just a couple of minutes. And the Dolphins were very fortunate on that play that Aversano missed the net. But Dolphins really need to settle down a little bit defensively and through the midfield. And we see a couple of changes now as Ryan Lehman is going to check into the game. Vasil Fedorsi is going to check into the game. And Yusuf Ali is going to check into the game. And you know, Mike Arianis is going to check out. Mohamed Endow is going to check out. And, you know, the Dolphins need to start playing a little bit better here in the first half. It's been all Stevens, especially the last couple of minutes.
It has, Mike, and it's been a very rough start for the Dolphins here. But fortunately for them, they still find themselves in a scoreless match. About 25.5 minutes to go in this first half. It's the Dolphins with possession. And good passing there by the Dolphins. It's Adrian Kosovic with the ball now. Kosovic with a nice move to turn toward goal, but he's dispossessed. And playing the ball toward midfield is Andrew Masser. Tommy Dorsey going aggressively for possession, and a nasty collision inside the midfield circle. A free kick, it appeared, was awarded to the Ducks. They took a free kick, but the referee blows his whistle. And a Dolphins player is down. It looks like Jacob Zumanski, Mike.
Yeah, it is Zumanski. The two players collided, and it looked like Stevens might have been the aggressor on the play. Instead, it's Zumanski that gets called for the foul. Ducks tried to put it in play a little bit too quickly. The referee is going to blow it back. But it's going to be another free kick opportunity for Stevens, Joe, just on the Dolphins' defensive side of the field.
One of several free kicks already for the Ducks here in the first half of this match. They've really been in control thus far. The free kick will be taken from just beyond the midfield stripe, and it will be softly passed over toward the far sideline to Nicholas Casillas. Casillas plays it over toward Patrick Masser, and a Ducks player is down after that challenge. The referee will head on over to check on him, and a foul will be called on the play going against the Dolphins. Yet another free kick for the Ducks.
Yeah, and this one in prime scoring position, Joe, and the Dolphins really just committing too many fouls, and this one in a position where the Ducks could definitely get an opportunity to put the ball on goal.
Once again, it will be Patrick Masser taking the free kick for the Ducks. The Dolphins forming a wall, 4-player wall, maybe 5, along the far corner of the penalty area. And there indeed are 5 Dolphins forming that wall right at the top of the box.
Yeah, I look for Stevens, Jody, that blasted on goal or try to lob it over and get it to an open player.
3 players were surrounding the ball there prior to that free kick. It's a shot taken wide of goal outside of the far post. Goal kick upcoming for the Dolphins, and entering the game for CSI will be number 21, Eric Condi. And it looks like Nerman Cortesi. Nope, not Cortesi. I don't see any players heading off. It's Eli Paparniku over the touchline along goal.
Yeah, and Eli had a couple of turnovers in the last couple of minutes, so he'll come to the bench now for the remainder of the first half as the Dolphins look to try to get themselves on track offensively here a little bit midway through the first half.
The goal kick taken out toward midfield by Jake Foldis, and out of a mosh pit of players comes once again. He is ruled offsides for the third time in this first half.
Yeah, that time a pretty easy call by the official, and you know, if you're Aversano, you want to do a little bit better than that.
Well, Aversano had a chance early and has missed out on others potentially because of those offsides being called against him. And that one is passed off the foot of David Valiant and out of bounds. It will be a throw-in for the Dolphins, quickly taken by Nerman Cortesi, who throws it in to Ryan Lehman. Pass over toward midfield. It's Fedorzi now. Cortesi over to Kosovic, just outside the penalty area. And played over toward the middle of the field. It's Ali Fairs from Kosovic into the penalty area. Looking for Ryan Lehman was Fairs, and it's recovered by the goalkeeper for the Ducks, Mitko Bozanov.
And, you know, Joe, you look at the Ducks, they've only allowed 13 goals, and this is going to be their 14th game, and it's easy to see why. They're a very good defensive team. You can see they always have almost 5 players standing on the line anytime the Dolphins try to attack defensively. And, you know, it's going to take a play with a little bit of creativity to score against this Stevens team.
It will certainly be a tough task for the Dolphins to get a quality shot. It has been so far, and with this defense of the Ducks, it should continue unless there is some unexpected defensive lapse by Stevens. It's the Dolphins now with possession. Cortesi has it along the near sideline. He was challenged by Mikula, and his pass is intercepted by the Ducks. Once again, taking it slowly is Patrick Boylan. Rolls the ball over toward the far sideline. Nicholas Casillas with it now. He passes ahead to Andrew Masser. The ball back over to Boylan. And Boylan will pass it softly across midfield now. With it is Nick DeFelice. And that one is off a Dolphins player. And now that Stevens is on attack, we should mention that offsides against Stevens have been a big factor in this first half. Opportunities potentially going by the wayside as a result of those offside calls. And offside calls are for Stevens and none for the Dolphins, as that one's crossed in toward the penalty area. Recovered by the Dolphins quickly. Ali Fairs plays it ahead. Kosovic has it now for CSI, dribbling across midfield. Down goes a Stevens defender, played ahead by Kosovic up to Vasil Fedorzi, and boxing him out away from the ball for this, the Ducks is Nicholas Casillas. Nicely done by Casillas to shield Fedorzi off the ball, and there will be another substitution for the Dolphins. It's Chris Lee entering for Nerman Cortesi.
Yeah, Coach Tardy trying to bring some new players in the game, try to get the Dolphins a little bit more possession. A nice play that time by the Dolphins, Joe. The first time they got to run in a little bit of open space. Unfortunately, the pass a little bit too hard. Nice defensive play by the Ducks, and they end up with the free kick.
And Coach John Tardy, as you mentioned, Mike, trying to shake things up. We've seen contributions across the board from the Dolphins so far this season. However, only 4 players have scored multiple goals so far. So if the Dolphins are going to get on the board, they may need some contributions from players that haven't necessarily been scorers so far this season.
And, you know, Joe, we didn't mention it yet, but the wind is blowing fairly hard this afternoon, and the wind has been at the back of the Dolphins here in the first half. With this free kick opportunity on the Stevens side of the field, maybe they can take advantage of it.
Szymanski takes the free kick for the Dolphins off the head of Fedorzi into the penalty area, and then once again off the head of a Dolphins player. That's Danny Nika. On goal was that header attempt, but right into the arms of Mitko Bozanov, who handles it cleanly.
And that was a nice play that time, Joe, by the Dolphins. Started by the Szymanski pass, finished by the Nika header. Unfortunately, a nice play by Bozanov to make the save as the Dolphins get their first shot on goal.
And Bozanov's punt toward midfield is redirected out of bounds by the Dolphins over the near sideline. Throw-in taken by the Ducks with the ball along the near sideline. Up in the attacking third is Jay Mikula, and that one is headed toward the near sideline corner. Jacob Szymanski has it. Ali Fairs plays it back to Ryan Lehman. A nice move by Lehman to get by the marker, and then the possession is regained by Stevens just outside the penalty area, and dribbling in, firing a shot was Patrick Masser, saved by Jake Foldis, who quickly rolls the ball out to Ali Fairs. along the near sideline. Fairs passes it up to Chris Lee, right back to Fairs, and a nice sliding tackle by Andrew Masser, knocking that one over the near sideline. Throw-in coming for the Dolphins. Fairs takes the long throw-in, looking for Adrian Kosovic. It's headed away by Patrick Boylan, and we will have a whistle. Looks like a foul. It has been called against the Ducks. Free kick coming for the Dolphins.
Yeah, and that's I thought that was a little bit of a tough call on the Ducks, but the Dolphins will take it, Joe. A big free kick opportunity for Fairs, and with the way they've struggled offensively, they have to take advantage of these opportunities.
And the free kick taken by Fairs is handled cleanly by Miko Bozanov. He collided with a Dolphins player. Looked like the player caught him in the rib area, but Bozanov holds on to the ball.
Nice ball that time by Fairs. He put it up high, gave a couple of plays an opportunity. Good play by Bozanov to make the play.
And Bozanov punts it just beyond midfield, headed by Vasil Fedorci. Chris Lee plays it back to Ali Fairs, who dribbles along the near sideline. He is dispossessed by David Valian. Ducks come away with it, and a foul is called. Looks like it was against Chris Lee of the Dolphins, and another free kick for Stevens Institute.
So Lee picks up his first foul, and it'll be another free kick opportunity for Stevens. And, you know, again, they're going to get to put it in play on the Dolphin side of the field.
With the ball is Andrew Masser, rolls it over toward the far sideline. Nicholas Casillas has it now. Casillas back to Masser. And Masser passes across the pitch. Along the near sideline with the ball is Valian. He passes ahead now to Dorsey. Two Dolphins converge on him. He loses the ball. No whistle, and play will continue.
Yeah, and he wanted a whistle on the play, but nothing called as the Dolphins come away with the ball.
Kosovic along the near sideline dribbles nicely to get out of that scrum of players. Kosovic moving quickly up into the attacking third. Passes it over to Chris Lee. It deflects off his foot. Fedorci has it. Rolls it over toward the far sideline. It's Condi. Nika has it now. Nika to Ali. Ali's pass off the shoulder of a Ducks defender. That was Nick DeFelice. It's quickly played ahead by the Ducks. Ruben Diaz is challenging Aversano. And that one goes over the touchline, the near sideline. Possession will go to the Dolphins.
Good physical play that time by Diaz to shield Aversano off the ball and get the throw in for the Dolphins.
Aversano's been very active for the Ducks here in this first half. We've said his name several times. And a battle between Kosovic and Boylan for the ball. A foul will be called. Looks like it's going against Boylan, and I think that's definitely the right call, as Boylan looked to be beaten there. Put two hands on Kosovic and tried to hold him back that way. Of course, that not legal defense. Free kick for the Dolphins, taken by Ali Fairs. He passed it over to Lehman, who passed to Fedorci. It went back to Lehman. Now Lehman over to Ali. Ali to Chris Lee. Dispossessed, and possession taken by the Ducks, who pushed the ball up toward midfield. It was Sumansky who played it back in the other direction. Now it's Chris Lee along the far sideline. Back to Nika. Nika ahead to Lee. And Lee just didn't have enough real estate there, as it will be a goal kick for the Ducks.
Yeah, but the Dolphins' level of play has picked up a little bit, Joe, especially in the midfield. They've been able to carry the ball across a couple of times and get the ball towards goal a couple of times. So Dolphins' play improving a little bit here in the first half.
It definitely has over the last 10 minutes or so. We're under 15 remaining in this first half. Still no score between the Dolphins and the Ducks. Sumansky toward midfield. Nika heads it off the head of a Duck and then off the head of a Dolphin. It's Youssef Ali who wins the ball now. Moving into the attacking third. Looked like he tried to put it on goal there. It's blocked. Fedorci recovered it. He passed over to Nika, and now it's Chris Lee with the ball. Chris Lee being challenged by several Ducks. Plays it back to Fedorci. Fedorci over to Fairs. Fairs moving in toward the penalty area. Fires a shot just outside of the left post, and it will be a goal kick for the Ducks. Also a substitution for the Ducks, as number 17 for the Ducks, Hadi Abdelhadi, will check in, replacing number 10, Nick DeFelice.
Yeah, so a substitution here for the Ducks, but a nice shot that time by Fairs. And, you know, you can see how the Ducks like to play defense. They drop back to the line of the penalty area and then move back. Dolphins did a nice job moving the ball back and then moving it forward to get the shot opportunity by Fairs.
And as Bozanov played it, it was Youssef Ali who challenged hard for that ball. Looks like he may have injured his shoulder. He's trying to roll it out here as it's Ali Fairs with the ball for the Dolphins along the near sideline. A foul is called against the Ducks, and it looks like Ali is in clear discomfort. He will remain in the game. No motion or signal for the trainer. Taking the free kick for CSI is Ali Fairs.
Yeah, and again, Joe, the way the Dolphins have struggled offensively, you'd like to see them play this one into the box and get an opportunity at goal.
The free kick from Fairs taken toward the far post. A good ball, and a lot of players in on that one as Kosovic went hard toward goal, tried to get ahead on it, made contact with the goalkeeper, Mitko Bazanov. No call. And Bazanov plays it ahead now quickly to David Valian, back to Patrick Boylan. And he launches one out beyond midfield. Possession now for Ryan Lehman. A nice move there by Lehman, avoiding two defenders.
Yeah, Lehman has done a nice job since checking in, making a couple of nice plays in midfield to sustain Dolphin possessions.
Lehman tried to push it ahead. It was knocked away by the Ducks, but the Dolphins come away with it once again. It's Ali Fairs along the near sideline, and a foul was called. I believe it went against Fairs, who tried to hold the defender off the ball with two hands there. Free kick coming for the Ducks.
Yeah, so as we move inside 11 minutes and 45 seconds, Joe, the Dolphins continue to pick up their level of play a little bit, and more importantly, have stabilized themselves in the midfield and defensively.
And I have a feeling when we get the halftime stats for this one, the number that will stand out is the fouls called against CSI so far here in this first half. There have been quite a few, a lot of free kicks for both sides in this first half. It's been a very physical first half, a very entertaining first half so far here at the CSI Soccer Complex. Still no score between CSI and Stevens Institute. A goal kick upcoming for the Dolphins to be taken by Jake Foldis. And the goal kick by Foldis reaches midfield. It goes off the head of Adrian Kosovic, and Patrick Boylan recovers it for the Ducks. The ball back now around midfield. It's Ali Fairs for the Dolphins. He passes over to Kosovic. Kosovic plays it ahead. Chris Lee has it for the Dolphins. Lee over to Ryan Lehman. A good pass over to Ali Fairs, working along the near sideline. He passes back to Chris Lee. That one in toward the penalty area. Lehman comes away with it for the Dolphins. Vasil Fedorci has it now for the Dolphins. And that one trickles away from him and deep into the penalty area. Recovering it once again is Mitko Bazanov.
Yeah, but a nice series of passes that time, Joe, inside the Duck penalty area led to an opportunity. The shot didn't make it hard towards goal, but Dolphins continuing to pick up their play offensively.
A good series of passes there for the Dolphins. They really have picked up their play now, and what has been about a 15-minute period of sustained possession for the Dolphins. A very good job after a sluggish start, and that one off the head of Zumanski. Almost got away from the Dolphins there. That one could have been trouble, but it is recovered by CSI. Fairs moving with speed along the near sideline, and that one goes over the touchline out of play just in front of us. Thrown in quickly by Fairs, and the Dolphins will lose possession moving toward their own goal. The ball was passed backwards, and Ruben Diaz saw it trickle off his foot and out of play. And then quickly off the throw-in for the Ducks. It's the Dolphins who come away with it. Yusuf Ali moving in toward the box. He's challenged by Andrew Masser and dispossessed. And that one is an attempted clearance by the Ducks. Went off a Dolphins player. I think that was off Yusuf Ali, so it will be a throw-in for Stevens.
Yeah, that was a nice offensive attack that time by Ali. He ended up having the ball knocked away, but good aggressive attack that time by Yusuf.
And Yusuf has been very active since checking in. A lot of these Dolphins who checked in during that wave of substitutions by John Tardy have made an impact, and the game has really shifted since then. Momentum has been in favor of CSI for the last 10 or 15 minutes. You have to like the way they responded to a slow start, as it looked like the Dolphins bench may have wanted Adrian Kosovic to try and put one toward goal. He doesn't. It's Danny Nico with the ball. Now he fires one toward goal, and that one is off the shin of Bazanov.
Yeah, that was a great save that time by Bazanov on the great move by Nika. So that was the Dolphins' best shot on goal, and the freshman Bazanov able to make the save as the Dolphins' attack continues to improve.
And a substitution for Stevens. It will be Danny Nasty checking in. He replaces Tommy Dorsey for the Ducks. It will be a throw-in now. And the ball is thrown in weakly and then played ahead by the Ducks. Recovering it at midfield for the Ducks is Nasty, who just checked in. Play toward Valian along the near sideline. Valian ahead to Mikula. Dispossessed by Ryan Lehman. The Dolphins heading the other way now. It's Yusuf Ali with the ball for CSI. He passes toward the near sideline over to Ali Fairs. And it looked like Fairs may have been attempting some sort of cross or shot there. It looked like it deflected off the foot of his marker and rolled weakly over to Mitko Bazanov.
Yeah, I think that time Ali was hoping one of the Dolphin players would cut towards the center of the goal. Both went towards the post.
And that one was played into the attacking third off the foot of Bazanov. A strong challenge there by Sumansky on the dribbler for the Ducks. No foul call, but the Ducks still maintain possession. And a foul is called against the Dolphins, as it was Patrick Masser who went down. Free kick upcoming once again for Stevens Institute.
Yeah, I think that foul was on Nika. Good shoulder-to-shoulder challenge by Zubanski, but then Nika draws the foul, and it looks like the Ducks may try to play this one into the box.
We've seen a lot of free kicks here in this first half, but only 4 shots on goal, 2 aside, 1 corner for each team as well. As we approach 7 minutes remaining here in this first half, still no score between the Ducks and Dolphins. Directing traffic for the Ducks is the player taking the free kick. I can't quite see a number from here. I believe it has been Patrick Masser taking the majority of the free kicks. Running up past the ball is Jimmy Duran, and I believe that was Masser who took the free kick. It was deflected. That one headed away by Jacob Sumansky of the Dolphins. There was a whistle.
Yeah, 3 players went down in front. It ends up being a foul called on the Ducks, so the Dolphins will come away with the free kick. So Ducks not making the most of their opportunity on that free kick possession, as I believe it's David Valiant that's going to pick up the foul.
And that kick off the foot of Jake Foldis out to midfield, played ahead by the Ducks, looking to move quickly. Intercepted by Zumansky, who gave it up to Ruben Diaz. Diaz passes it up to Ali Fairs, who loses it. Pushed ahead by Aversano, and over the touchline. Throwing up coming for the Dolphins. And the official tells Ruben Diaz to move back a few strides. He will be throwing it in for CSI. A long throw in by Diaz. Over the head of the intended target, Chris Lee. And Yusuf Ali was battling for the ball there. Looked as if he believed it might be a Dolphins throw, and it was not. Taking the throw in is David Valiant. He throws it in toward midfield. Andrew Masser plays it back to Nicholas Casillas. Over to Patrick Boylan. Boylan over to David Valiant. Here on the near sideline, he plays it in toward the middle of the field. It's Daniel Aversano who tried to play it toward the far sideline, and now the Ducks moving in the wrong direction. They'll head it over to their goalkeeper, Mitko Bazanov.
Yeah, nice play by Casillas that time. Kosovic was charging in, looked dangerous. He was able to head the ball back to Bazanov, who punts it away.
Well, avoiding the key turnover, looks like it'll be a point of emphasis for both teams, as now it's been a fairly even first half. After the early portion of this first half was dominated by the Ducks, it's been the Dolphins now who have been the aggressors in the latter portion of the first half, as a foul is called against the Dolphins deep in the attacking third.
Yeah, Lee and Valiant collided on the play a couple of times. Lee ends up with the foul, so it'll be a free kick now for the Ducks deep inside their own defensive territory.
Free kick to be taken by Patrick Boylan. Headed away at midfield, that was Ryan Lehman. Adrian Kosovic chips one high into the air, giving chase is Yusuf Ali. He's challenged by Patrick Boylan, and off Boylan's head and over the touchline. It will be a corner kick for the Dolphins, their second of this first half, as we approach 4 minutes remaining in half number 1. Still no score. The Dolphins will look to change that right here.
And that was a good play by Ali to get a corner kick out of a possession that looked like it was pinned in the corner. Let's see how the Dolphins could play it.
Looks like it will be Chris Lee taking the corner kick for the Dolphins. Players set up along the far post on the right side of the box. In comes the corner kick. Ryan Lehman had it on his foot for a moment, but it's cleared out by the Ducks toward midfield. Ali Fairs comes up to challenge, knocks the ball away from Aversano, but over the near sideline, and it will be a throw-in for the Ducks.
That was a good corner kick that time by Lee, Joe, and he was able to get it right in front. Lehman got a foot on it, but the Ducks defense was there to knock it back away from the goal.
And despite the Dolphins' control of possession, the Ducks' defense has not faltered here in this first half. It's been the attack of the Ducks that fizzled out a little bit in the latter portion of this first half. And the ball now moving in toward the Dolphins' goal, cleared away by Szymanski. Ollie Fairs tried to come away with it. Instead, it's Jay McCullough moving up along the far sideline toward the middle of the field now, nearing the top of the penalty area. He passes over to the far sideline. It's Nika challenging. And that one is crossed into the penalty area by Duran off a Dolphins player, and firing a shot high and wide of goal is Daniel Aversano of the Ducks.
So Aversano able to get the ball off the volley right in the center of the field, but his shot went over the crossbar as Kosovic will check out, and Matt Bessler will check into the game for the Dolphins for the first time here this afternoon. So Aversano with another shot towards goal, but the Dolphins end up with the free kick as the first half winding down with 2:10.
So Adrian Kosovic will play all but about 2 minutes in this first half as he takes a seat, replaced by Matt Bessler, as you just mentioned, Mike. And it's Youssef Ali challenging around the midfield area once again. He's been very active for the Dolphins since checking in. The foul is called against him. However, Andrew Masser rolls the free kick back over to Patrick Boylan. Boylan plays it toward the near sideline for David Valian. Jay McCullough dispossessed by the Dolphins. Chris Lee being challenged by two Ducks. No call there as Lee goes down. But it's Szymanski who comes away with it for the Dolphins, plays it ahead. Off Lee's foot to Fedorzi for CSI. Ryan Lehman now being challenged by a trio of Ducks. He passes over toward the far sideline. It's Danny Nika coming in with some speed. He's dispossessed, and now Ryan Lehman has it once again, being challenged by Daniel Aversano. He passes over to Nika. That one's knocked away by Patrick Masser, and coming away with it are the Ducks as they chip it ahead, off the head of the Dolphins' Jacob Szymanski. Ducks have it once again at midfield off the header of Szymanski. They'll play it back, and it's David Valian with the ball. He passes toward midfield. The Dolphins now came away with it for just a moment, but Matt Bessler loses it back to Stevens Institute, who play the ball along the far sideline. We're down to 50 seconds remaining here in this first half. Still a scoreless tie between the Ducks and Dolphins.
Big final 45 seconds here, Joe. Dolphins want to keep pressure on, but not make any big mistake here in the last 30 seconds.
Well, I mentioned the similarities between the Stevens Institute team and the way the Rowan University team really probed the Dolphins' defense in that game. A backbreaker against CSI was a last-second goal in a situation just like this, as a foul will be called against the Dolphins. I believe the call goes against Danny Nika. Free kick upcoming for the Ducks as we head down now toward 15 seconds remaining here in this first half. Patrick Masser tries to get set up quickly for the Ducks. Plays it into the penalty area, off the head of a Ducks player, and then off the foot of Jay McCullough and into the back of the net with 4 seconds to go in this first half. The Ducks of Stevens Institute have scored the first goal of this match, and the Ducks now have a 1-0 lead over the Dolphins. And we mentioned it, Mike, how back-breaking a last-second goal could be. A very fortuitous bounce off the head of one player and onto the foot of another for the Ducks, and hopefully CSI can bounce back from that, but a really difficult pill to swallow if you're the Dolphins wrapping up this first half.
Yeah, really a back-breaking goal there, Joe, by the Ducks as the Dolphins commit the foul well out away from the goal. It leads to a free kick opportunity. Like you mentioned, the ball volleyed across, and the Dolphins fall behind 1-0 with just 4 seconds remaining in the first half.
A very tough break for the Dolphins to end that first half. It was a very good free kick taken by Patrick Masser directly off the head of one player who looked intent on firing it toward goal. I didn't catch who that player was who headed the ball, but it went off his head and straight onto the foot of number 2, Jay McCullough, who fires it past Jake Foldis and into the back of the net. And that will bring us to halftime as the final seconds just ticked off the clock. The players head toward their respective benches, and we'll rejoin you in 10 minutes. Our score at halftime, 1-0 in favor of the Ducks over the Dolphins. We'll be back with the call of the second half in just under 10 minutes. You've been watching NCAA Division III men's soccer coverage here on CSI Sportsnet. Our score, Stevens 1, CSI nothing at halftime.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised.
Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Mom.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course.
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
We're leaving.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent. We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness. I am a witness. I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me
And me.
help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android.
This is awesome.
You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
This is why you took a second job. While you taught yourself how to fix the plumbing. While you'll do whatever it takes to keep your home. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Call 888-995-HOPE today.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet with coverage of this afternoon's NCAA Division III soccer matchup between the Dolphins of the College of Staten Island and the Ducks of Stevens Institute. Our score at halftime, 1-0 in favor of the Ducks after a potentially back-breaking goal scored by the Ducks with only 4 seconds remaining in the first half. We've seen the Dolphins suffer that earlier this season against Rowan University in a game which they fell 3-1. Had they been playing from only a goal behind in that game, it would have made a world of difference. Fortunately for CSI, they were only behind by 1 goal here at halftime. And we'll look at the official first half stats in this game. For the Dolphins, they took a total of, as I look for the shots, here we are, 7 shots for Stevens and 4 shots for the Dolphins. And I talked about during the first half, the number that would really jump out on the stat sheet at halftime, it is the fouls. 14 fouls called against CSI in that first half as opposed to only 5 for Stevens Institute. So, Mike, the Dolphins will have some things to clean up here in the second half.
You know, Joe, the Dolphins committed way too many fouls in that first half, and only fittingly on their 14th foul of the first half, what was really a very unnecessary foul deep along the far sideline. It led to a free kick opportunity. A nice ball was put in front. We're not sure yet if it was flicked on by one of the Stevens Institute players, though I thought it was. And then McCullough was able to blast it into the net for his second goal of the year. A real back-breaking goal for the Dolphins as they allow only their 10th goal of the year. But another costly one, Joe, and another goal that was allowed in the final minute. And, you know, you get into these good games, Joe, against good non-conference teams, and you can't afford to let down at all in the 45 minutes. And that time a little bit of a careless foul in the final 23 seconds led to a free kick opportunity. A beautiful play by Stevens led to the goal, and they go into halftime with a 1-0 lead that feels more commanding than that, Joe, because of the timing of the goal.
Yeah, the timing of the goal really is the killer for the Dolphins. But again, they only trail by 1 goal. And what really makes that goal so tough for the Dolphins is that they really controlled play for the final 20 minutes or so in that first half after Stevens dominated play in the early portion of that first half. The Dolphins really regained control of the ball later in the first half and did some really good things. They put shots on goal. They maintained possession and really strung together passes very effectively. But when it comes down to it, an unnecessary foul led to that goal. There was no need for the Dolphins to commit a foul along the far sideline there. Forced Stevens to string together some passes and play that ball into the penalty area rather than having an opportunity to set up. I believe that free kick was taken off the head of one Stevens player and then onto the foot of Jay McCullough, who put it into the back of the net, giving the Ducks the 1-0 lead that they will have to begin this second half as we get set to get underway with half number 2 here at the CSI Soccer Complex. Ducks over Dolphins by a score of 1-0.
And, we should mention, Joe, that here in the second half, it'll be the Ducks that will have the wind at their back. And, you mentioned, Joe, the Dolphins' offensive play picked up in the later stages of the first half, and they're going to have to continue that, though now down 1-0. Of course, that will change the way that Stevens comes out defensively here in the second half.
And Stevens was very stout defensively in that first half. A 1-goal lead makes things a little bit easier for them, but the Dolphins did get a spark off the bench from several players who came in, including Chris Lee, Youssef Ali, Vasil Fedorci, Eric Kondig, all of those players coming in off the bench for CSI as we get underway here in half number 2. Dolphins trailing the Ducks by a score of 1-0 on a last-second first-half goal scored by Jay Mikula of Stevens Institute. It will be Eric Kondig who chips the ball out toward midfield off the chest of Youssef Ali over toward the near sideline, and it's kicked by Tommy Dorsey up to Vasil Fedorci of the Dolphins, who comes away with it. It's Eli Paparniku who tried to play it ahead. That one was deflected. Paparniku gets it back and kicks it out across over midfield. Possession now gained by the Ducks. Fedorci dispossesses number 6 for the Ducks, Patrick Masser, as that one trickles over toward the far sideline and out of play. Possession will go the other way. A throw-in upcoming for the Dolphins.
And, Joe, one of the Dolphins that struggled a little bit in that first half was Eli Paparniku, who's had a great senior year for the Dolphins, but he's out here to start the second half, and, he's played very well defensively. He can also give you that overlapping skill on the offensive end, so Dolphins looking for a better second half from Eli.
And we've seen him keep shots out of net this season. He's played very well defensively for the Dolphins, and there's no reason that he can't turn things around after a couple of bad turnovers in the first half. One, not even necessarily a turnover, just a ball that he took a bad angle to, allowing Stevens to attack quickly and get a quality shot on goal, as it will be the Ducks with possession now. Dolphins come away with it, though, along the far sideline, knocked away out of the air, and it's Youssef Ali with the ball for the Dolphins in the middle of the field. Ali with a soft pass over to Fedorci, who passes it over to the near sideline. Eli Paparniku with it, up to Chris Lee, back to Fedorci. Mike Arianis with the ball, passes to Chris Lee, and Lee, who looked to move the ball in toward the middle of the field, has his pass knocked away. It will be a throw-in for the Dolphins as Arianis quickly throws it in toward the penalty area. Cleared away by Patrick Masser of the Ducks. And it's Mike Arianis giving chase. Now Eli Paparniku, who runs out of room. That ball over the touchline. Throw-in for the Ducks, taken quickly by Jay Mikula. And giving chase to the ball is Daniel Nasty. That one out of play. Looks like it will be a goal kick for the Dolphins.
And, Joe, Rustev Jumayev has started the second half for the Dolphins, so he's into the game. I don't see Danny Nika out on the field, so I guess Jumayev came into the game for Nika.
And I think it was Nika who committed that costly foul late in the first half along the far sideline. Perhaps that may have something to do with this change, but Nika did play the entire first half, so it could also be him just getting a breather as the Dolphins look to move it ahead toward the penalty area, cleared away once again by the Ducks. At midfield, it's Daniel Aversano who kicks it overhead up to Daniel Nasty, and that one goes out of play, far out of play. It will be a throw-in for the Ducks.
And, we should also mention, Joe, that Nika had 2 shots for the Dolphins in the first half, including probably their best opportunity at goal that Bozanov had to make a great save on. So made that foul at the end, but he also was an offensive presence for the Dolphins.
He was, and it was a much-needed offensive presence for CSI in that first half. It looked like one of the Ducks tried to sell a potential foul call there. Did not get the call as Mike Arianis moves ahead. A good idea on the pass there, but too far out in front of his intended recipient, Chris Lee. Rolling the ball ahead will be the goalkeeper for the Ducks, Mitko Bozanov. That's Patrick Boylan, who plays the ball way upfield. And giving chase is Nasty for the Ducks. He has it dribbling along the far sideline. Aversano has it moving in toward the penalty area. He's dispossessed by Ruben Diaz, who clears the ball up ahead. That was Jumayev who passed over to Lehman. Lehman up to Youssef Ali. Chris Lee surveying the field around him, takes a touch perhaps too hard and is dispossessed by Tommy Dorsey. Dorsey moving with some speed into the attacking third. Plays the ball over toward the far sideline. Shot taken by Daniel Aversano. It's by Foldis and into the back of the net. A low shot that didn't really get off the turf much, but a very well-placed shot gives the Ducks of Stevens Institute a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, so Aversano's going to pick up his 4th goal of the year, Joe, and he's had opportunities all day long. That time it was a beautiful run by Tommy Dorsey. He made a beautiful pass that got under the foot of a Dolphin defender and got onto the foot of Aversano, and he made no mistake drilling the ball from the far post over to the near post to pick up the goal and open this game up to a 2-0 Stevens lead.
Well, that's not how you wanted to start the second half if you're the Dolphins. A first half which saw you really controlled possession late for the latter portion of the first half, about the last 20 minutes or so. They gave up a goal late in the first half, now give up a second goal early here in the second half. Score now 2-0 in favor of the Ducks. About 40.5 minutes remaining in half number 2 as the Ducks quickly on the attack once again. Mikula crosses the ball into the penalty area. That's Aversano with it, and a good challenge there by Ryan Lehman to knock the ball away from him. It gets chipped straight up into the air, recovered by Jake Foldis, who rolls it ahead to Rustam Jumayev. Jumayev passes ahead to Youssef Ali, who loses it. It's the Ducks who have it once again now. Nasty with the ball for the Ducks. Coming up to gain possession is Nick DeFelice, who plays it ahead in toward the penalty area. It goes by everyone in there and over the touchline, out of play. Goal kick upcoming for the Dolphins. We'll have another substitution for the Dolphins. Mohamed Endowed checks in. He'll replace Vasil Fedorzi.
Yeah, and one of the things you got to like about this Duck attack, Joe, is their ability to go from defense to offense extremely quickly. On that second goal, it was Dorsey who came away with the quick steal, made a showed a burst of speed right to the center of the Dolphin net. He fed the ball over to Aversano, and here they come again.
And a very nice chip ahead there by Danny Nasty, looking for Daniel Aversano, but a decisive play by Jake Foldis to come out of the net quickly and punch that ball away. It's the Dolphins with possession now, just shy of midfield. Peter Hanna, who just checked in place of Chris Lee, pushes it up ahead to Youssef Ali. He loses the ball as his pass is intercepted. That one's knocked away from Nick DeFelice. We're heading the other way now. It's Peter Hanna with the ball. And that's a good ball ahead to Youssef Ali, who plays it off his chest and loses possession, but a good ball there from Peter Hanna. Ali could not corral it, dispossessed by Nicholas Casillas. The Dolphins have it once again. It's Jumayev passing up the far sideline to Youssef Ali, who takes a strong touch ahead toward the corner, and he slides down. Didn't look like any intent there to take out the play. It looked like he just lost his footing, and it will be a goal kick upcoming for the Ducks.
Yeah, so the ball will roll out of bounds, and it'll be the free kick opportunity for the Ducks. And Ducks came out strong here in the second half, made a couple of nice plays. And, you know, Joe, we were mentioning before, but the way that they turn defense into offense, they do it very quickly, usually with just a pass or so. It's what led to their second goal, and that second goal really puts the Ducks in a good position here in the second half. For the Dolphins, they got to maintain their defensive integrity, and, you know, no need to open things wide open right here, Joe. They need to get the next goal, but they need to stay solid defensively.
The Dolphins have plenty of time, just over 38 minutes remaining here in the second half. And you mentioned how Stevens has been able to turn quickly from defense into offense. That's a characteristic of talented teams, which this Ducks team is. The Dolphins are a very talented team in their own right. Definitely not out of this one yet. They trail by 2 goals with just under 38 minutes to go as that one's crossed into the penalty area, and some miscommunication there between the Ducks. It looked like that would be a routine recovery and goal for Mitko Buzanov, and miscommunication with Nicholas Casillas. I almost saw that ball roll by both of them and potentially into the goal. I'm not sure if it would have found the back of the net, but definitely some miscommunication there by the Ducks.
Yeah, Ali was trying to force his way through the defense. The Ducks defense did enough to shield him out of the way, and the Ducks were able to come away with the possession.
It will be a throw-in now for the Ducks, right around midfield. That's Patrick Masser with the ball. He gives it up, and it's played back once again. Patrick Boylan pushes it ahead. Daniel Aversano has it once again, chips one over to Jay Mikula, who has a goal. That one came at the end of the first half. Mikula lost his footing, and it's Aversano challenging, working against Jumayev for possession, and it's cleared ahead toward the corner and out of play. So it will be Jacob Sumansky coming in for the Dolphins, replacing, looks like Youssef Ali coming over toward the scorer's table. So Sumansky enters for Ali. Ali very active for the Dolphins during his time on the pitch.
And, you know, Joe, while we have a minute, let's turn our attention over to the women's side. The women coming off of a nice win as they were able to defeat St. Joe's of Long Island yesterday by a score of 1-0 as Christina Rodriguez scored the only goal of that game to give the Dolphins the win. We mentioned before, this is the final home game for the men. The women will have one home game remaining. That will be a week from Saturday against John Jay. So, hard to believe, Joe, but the men will finish the regular season today. The women will finish it next Saturday, and then we'll have the CUNY championships.
Just over 5 weeks of home games here for the men who have played the majority of their games here at the CSI Soccer Complex this season. It's Adrian Kosovic moving to the attacking third for the Dolphins, pushes it ahead to Mike Arianis, and that through ball too far ahead of Arianis over the touchline, out of play, goal kick upcoming for the Ducks.
Yeah, so the Ducks are going to try to bend and not break here throughout the final 35 minutes for the Dolphins. They have to stay disciplined, wait for their opportunities, but they can't afford to miss a big one, Joe. If they get an opportunity at the net, they need to get themselves back to within one.
Given what we've seen from the Ducks defensively so far here in this match, it's going to be very tough for the Dolphins to put 2 goals on the board, let alone 3, in order to come away with a victory. They just need to get one up there first, and it's much easier to play behind 1 goal rather than 2. We'll see if the Dolphins can narrow the gap here with 35 minutes remaining in the second half. A throw-in upcoming for CSI along the far sideline. It's Condi who throws it into Jumayev. That one played back toward midfield. And a nice ball there off the foot of number 15, Danny Nasty, but good awareness from Jacob Sumansky to get up right on top of that one. It's Jake Foldis who played that one back out toward midfield. The Dolphins have possession, and a costly turnover there as moving into the penalty area and firing a shot was Jay McCullough looking for his second goal. I'm not sure which Dolphin turned that ball over, but it put Jay McCullough in a great position to score the 3rd Ducks goal of this match. The Dolphins dodged a bullet there, and they come away with possession.
Yeah, big save by Foldis to keep this a 2-0 game.
And another costly turnover by the Dolphins. It seems we've been saying that on several occasions here in this match so far, as it's Eli Paparniku who goes down following the challenge. The ball goes over the touchline, a throw-in for the Dolphins. They take it quickly. It's Mohamed Endow with it now. He crosses the ball over to the far sideline. Played ahead. And that's Peter Hanna who crosses in. Cleared out quickly by Patrick Boyle, and the Ducks have it now. Daniel Aversano just pushes the ball ahead, back toward the back line of the Dolphins. Giving chase is Danny Nasty, but Jake Foldis will clear it out toward midfield for the Dolphins. Ustam Jumayev over to Mohamed Endow. Endow to Eric Condi. Back ahead to Jumayev. He's dispossessed, but Ryan Lehman comes away with it. Chips it ahead towards Peter Hanna. It goes over his head, and Adrian Kosovic is called for another foul. That one played quickly by the Ducks, who move into the attacking third. Andrew Masser has it, and a pair of players going down over there near the corner. Looks like it's going to be a throw-in for the Ducks. We'll also have a substitution for the Ducks.
17, Hadi Abdelhadi.
Hadi Abdelhadi checks in for the Ducks, replacing number 13, Daniel Aversano, who's been very active for the Ducks here in this one. He scored a goal for Stevens here in the second half.
And looking ahead for the Dolphins, Joe, their big game will be this Saturday afternoon at Lehman College, scheduled time 1 o'clock. Then they'll play John Jay a week from today on the road at 4 o'clock. That will conclude the CUNYAC regular season, and then they'll finish with Arcadia on the road on the 22nd. The CUNYAC tournament for the Dolphins hopefully will start on the 29th in the semifinals, but if they need to play a quarterfinal game, that would be October 26th.
Well, the Dolphins, of course, looking to secure one of the top spots and a first-round bye in the CUNYAC tournament. That's something we'll discuss more a little bit later, as they have 2 conference matchups remaining. Still have 32 minutes of soccer left to play here this afternoon against Stevens Institute, as a foul is called against the Dolphins once again. So many fouls against the Dolphins so far here in this match. 14 in the first half. I recall at least 2 or 3 here early in the second half as well.
Yeah, and, you know, we mentioned, Joe, that it was the 14th foul of the first half that led to the first Duck goal. And, you know, here's an opportunity from a pretty similar location, Joe, that they scored to end the first half.
And unlike the first half, the Ducks will have the wind at their back for this free kick attempt, so that should work in their favor as well. But you got it, Mike, a very similar position as the free kick is taken by Masser, headed away by Ryan Lehman. And played in toward the penalty area, lands on the foot of Abdel Hadi, but that one goes out of play. Goal kick coming for the Dolphins.
Yeah, so the Ducks essentially tried to run the same play once again. This time the Dolphins able to head it away. It still ended up with a Duck opportunity, but now the Dolphins have the ball.
And that one played laterally by Jake Foldis over to Ruben Diaz. A foul is called against Jay McCullough, and it will be a free kick for the Dolphins to be taken by Ruben Diaz. And that one is off the head of Peter Hanna, over the touchline, out of play, throwing up coming for the Ducks.
Yeah, and the Ducks now have put up 5 shots on goal here in the game compared to just 2 for the Dolphins. And, you know, Joe, the Dolphins had that second shot somewhere in the middle of the first half, so they need to get a few opportunities at goal, as this time it's Kosovic to draw the foul.
Well, we saw a pair of fouls called in succession right there, as it's Ryan Lehman who sees his pass knocked down by Abdel Hadi. And Jumayev looking to keep it in play for the Dolphins along the far sideline. He does. Eli Paparniku running along the far sideline looking to keep possession, and he loses it for just a moment over the touchline. And will be heading the other way. Taking the throw in for the Ducks will be David Valiant. And we will have a substitution upcoming for the Ducks in just a few moments as well. As that one rolls out toward midfield. Played ahead by Zumanski. And redirected the other way quickly by the Ducks, who look to move ahead. Nicely done there by Ruben Diaz to quell that attack. Chips it up into the air. Mike Arianis comes away with it for the Dolphins. Looks to push it ahead to Kosovic. Kosovic being shielded off the ball by Dorsey. And it looks like we're headed back the other way once again.
Yes, that time it's going to be a foul on Kosovic. I believe that might be his 7th foul, Joe, of the game here this afternoon. But it will end up with a free kick here for the Ducks.
Well, Kosovic has no less than 6 fouls. That I can say with certainty. It could be as many as 7 or 8. Patrick Boylan kicking here for the Ducks. And that one goes just beyond midfield off the head of Ryan Lehman. Mohamed Endow heads it for the Dolphins. Redirected back towards the Dolphins goal by Andrew Masser. Over the touchline, out of play, throwing up coming for the Dolphins. Diaz with a long throw in towards midfield. Kosovic aggressively comes in to try and recover the ball. He cannot. He and Mike Arianis challenging Jay McCullough along the near sideline. Kosovic comes away with it after being challenged by 2 Ducks defenders. It's Mohamed Endow with it now over to Sumansky. He passes along the far sideline to Condi. Eric Condi sees his pass intercepted before recovering the ball back. Eli Paparniku has it right along the midfield stripe. Moves ahead along the far sideline. His pass redirected by Jumayev over to Peter Hanna, back to Jumayev, who looked to play it into the penalty area. But Adrian Kosovic, the intended target, surrounded by Ducks. No opening there for that pass. At midfield with the ball now is Nick DeFelice. He passes over to Jay McCullough, who tries to pass back in the other direction. He is fouled hard, and it looks like there may be a card issued here as the clock is stopped.
Yeah, Diaz is going to pick up a card on the play, and it's going to be a yellow card for Ruben Diaz. And, you know, Joe, why that gives us a minute, you know, we should mention that the Dolphins will pick up their conference schedule on Saturday against Lehman College. That game a 2:30 start, and, you know, this is a game that could determine whether the Dolphins finish first or second in the regular season. So we really want to encourage everybody, if you're a Dolphin fan, head out to Lehman this Saturday afternoon, 2:30 start. It's a nice grass field, a good place to go see a game. Come support the Dolphins this Saturday afternoon as they look to win the CUNYAC regular season championship. And to do so, they're going to need to start with a win against Lehman this Saturday.
We've had great support here at the CSI Soccer Complex all season long. We'd love to see that on the road as well. The Dolphins can finish as high as first in the CUNYAC Conference, as low as, I believe, fourth. So still a lot to be decided here in this regular season, as we'll look to see where the Dolphins find themselves positioned in the CUNYAC tournament. They'd love to find themselves in one of those top 2 positions and receive a bye and a ticket straight to the conference semifinals, as we will have a substitution for the Ducks. It's Gerald Lamina checking in, replacing Jay McCullough, who scored a goal for the Ducks at the end of the first half.
And to give you that conference schedule for Saturday, in addition to the Dolphins playing against Lehman on Saturday, CCNY against John Jay, Hunter Brooklyn, York Mega Evers. 4 big games this Saturday that will go a long way into deciding the regular season standings.
Well, Mike, as you were running through that conference schedule, the Ducks nearly came away with their third goal. It was crossed into the box, a very good ball, and it was off the foot of Tommy Dorsey, who got under it a bit too much, launched it up over the crossbar and potentially over the netting as well. I didn't catch if that ball traveled over the netting, but definitely a high shot, as the Dolphins just made a substitution. I believe it was Ali Fayers checking in for Mike Arianis. Goal kick taken by Jake Foldis out toward midfield, and once again it's the Ducks who come away with it. Moving quickly toward the penalty area, firing a shot high and wide is Nick DeFelice, but the Ducks once again getting their attack moving very quickly, that time off a Dolphins goal kick. They came away with possession at midfield, moved in toward the box with speed, and the shot fired high and wide by Nick DeFelice.
Yeah, the Ducks have shown the ability to go from defense to offense quickly. They showed it there and nearly came away with goal number 3.
And the Ducks have looked very strong since scoring that second goal. The Dolphins haven't shown much resistance since that point, as the pass by Peter Hanna intercepted easily by the Ducks, but played up in the air by Adrian Kosovic. And it's Ali Fayers who comes away with it, passes in to Kosovic. A nice move by Kosovic. He's being challenged by 2 Ducks, still maintaining possession of it. Passes over to Ryan Lehman. Lehman to Eli Paparniku, plays it back toward midfield. Eric Condi with the ball. Nerman Cortesi has it now for the Dolphins. Eli Paparniku plays it ahead, and that one goes over the touchline and out of play.
And the Ducks with a 2-0 lead as the Dolphins tried to pry their way into the Ducks' defensive zone. The Ducks had 9 defensive players behind the ball as the Dolphins tried to attack, and now the Ducks will get the throw-in.
And that was the best series of passes we've seen from the Dolphins here in this second half. We'll see if they can keep that going. Still trailing by 2 goals now, under 25 minutes remaining here in this second half. 5 shots on goal for the Ducks, only 2 for the Dolphins, as it will be Eli Paparniku to throw in for CSI. We do have a Ducks player down. Referee blows the whistle, and we will resume play. Nerman Cortesi to throw in now for the Dolphins. That's Adrian Kosovic being challenged by 2 Ducks near the corner. He's dispossessed, and that one's cleared away by Stevens. At midfield with the ball now for the Ducks is Lamina. He passes softly over toward the near sideline. Tommy Dorsey moving ahead.
Yeah, Dorsey plays with a lot of speed and energy, Joe, and he set up that second goal really off of a turnover, and he's another Duck that's played very well here this afternoon.
One of several so far here for Stevens Institute. A lot of contributions across the board so far in this one. We've said a lot of names many times being involved in this attack, and defensively their back line has been solid really from start to finish, as it will be Nicholas Casillas chipping that one ahead toward midfield up in the air. Battling for it is Ryan Lehman going against Hadi Abdelhadi, and it's Stevens who come away with it. Patrick Boylan clears it out across midfield. Now Eric Condi comes away with that ball. Ryan Lehman passes ahead to Adrian Kosovic. Kosovic moving ahead, looking for Nerman Cortesi, and once again the Ducks will just clear it out toward midfield. The Ducks very content just clearing the ball out of the attacking third of the Dolphins, and forcing the Dolphins to reset everything time and time again.
Yeah, you know, you could look with a team that's well coached and well disciplined and plays well defensively, like Stevens clearly is, to play everything off to the side here, Joe. And the nice thing about getting that second goal, of course, is that you can't be defeated on a single mistake.
And that's always important, as one mistake can prove so costly, as it did for the Dolphins at the end of that first half. The foul called against CSI led to the free kick, and that free kick leading to the first goal of the game scored by Stevens Institute with only 4 seconds to go in the first half, off the head of one player and then off the foot of Jay McCullough. The second half goal scored on a shot by Daniel Aversano. Those 2 goals scored by the Ducks have given them a 2-0 lead. Now 22 minutes remaining here in the second half. The Dolphins will really have to pick things up if they're going to have any chance of getting in this game late. And Dow tried to play it ahead over to Cortesi. Pass never reached him. It's the Ducks who have possession. Eric Condi comes up and takes it away. Dolphins have it now. Moving just beyond midfield. That ball played across toward the near sideline for Ollie Fairs. He tried to backheel it toward Peter Hanna. He loses it. As that one now quickly played toward the Dolphins' goal. A foul is called against the Dolphins, and another free kick here coming from about halfway between midfield and the top of the penalty area.
And, you know, Joe, we mentioned earlier the importance of coming out and supporting the men's soccer team at Lehman. Next Wednesday night, the women will be at Brooklyn College. Chances are both teams will be undefeated going into that game, and that game will be to decide first place in the conference. That will be next Wednesday night at Brooklyn College, 6:30 opening kickoff. So, you know, again, another opportunity to come out, support the Lady Dolphins as they look to win their second consecutive CUNYAC championship under head coach Giuseppe Panetti.
Huge games for both the men and women as that free kick is taken toward the penalty area. Coming away with it for a moment were the Ducks. Hadi Abdelhadi fired one toward goal. It was blocked, and it ricocheted out toward midfield. The Ducks have possession once again. It's Dorsey. And Mike, you have your third touch in the last 2 days as you redirected that one back toward the sideline for a throw-in to be taken by the Ducks. We've seen quite a lot of action over here so far this season along the near sideline just beyond midfield.
Yeah, it seems like the ball's finding the scorer's table a lot here, Joe, over the last few days.
Throw in by Tommy Dorsey, and a whistle from the official. Looks like it will be a foul called against the Dolphins, and yet another free kick for the Ducks coming here in this half of the field. 2 hours left. We've seen a lot of action down at this end here in the second half. A lot of action down this way as well in the end of the first half.
And, you know, Joe, you look at that foul. It's a throw-in about 30 yards from goal. The player has his back towards goal, and Diaz commits the foul. And instead of just having an innocent play along the sidelines, you now have another scoring opportunity for Stevens.
And that one is fired in toward the box. Initially cleared by the Dolphins, but then recovered just beyond the penalty area by the Ducks. Mohamed Endow keeps that one from going over the touch line. It's played back out toward midfield by Stevens. Tommy Dorsey with the ball, being challenged by Ollie Fairs. Dorsey wanted a foul called, no such call made, but he has the ball once again. Paparniku and Diaz closing in on him, and Ollie Fairs is the one who dispossesses him. Fairs now has it along the near sideline, and Dorsey comes back to dispossess him, knocking the ball out over the touchline. Throw in to be taken by Ruben Diaz. He throws it in softly to Ollie Fairs. Fairs moving along the near sideline. Eli Paparniku softly kicks the ball in, but it's the Ducks who come away with it, quickly playing it ahead beyond midfield. Danny Nasty passes it up over to Gerald Lamina. The ball rolling toward the corner, recovered by Nasty once again. Crossed into the box, headed away by Ryan Lehman. Peter Hanna passes it softly up to Ollie Fairs, who passed it over to Ryan Lehman. Peter Hanna comes away with that deflected ball. Played it up ahead, recovered by the Ducks. Abdelhadi has it now for Stevens. David Valiant along the far sideline. Ball pushed ahead toward the top of the box. The Dolphins had it for a moment. The Ducks now regain possession. And what looked like an attempted cross, I believe, ricocheted off a Dolphins player which would mean a corner kick for the Ducks, who will make a substitution prior to what I believe is indeed a corner kick. It's number 14, Nikolai Figueroa, checking in. He replaces number 23, Patrick Boylan, whose name we've said a lot this afternoon. Also a substitution for the Dolphins as Danny Nika checks in for Eli Papanicou.
Yeah, so Papanicou will check out of the game. Nika will check back in. Nika was one of the more effective offensive players for the Dolphins in the first half.
And a high cross with a lot of hang time off the corner. That one did not land in the box. It's cleared away by Ali Fairs up to Danny Nika. Nika has it, passes ahead to Youssef Ali. Ali back over to Nika, and Nika tried to get rid of that ball before the challenger closed in and could not get away. However, Nika played it right off the foot of a Ducks defender. Challenging for the ball is Ruben Diaz. Sliding tackle there by Tommy Dorsey to knock it away from Diaz, but Ali Fairs comes away with it for the Dolphins. And that one is played up ahead and out of danger by Nikolai Figueroa, who gets his first touch since checking in. Ducks now have possession right around midfield. And Ali Fairs wins the ball for the Dolphins. Mohamed Endal then promptly gives it away and off the foot of a Ducks player and over to Ruben Diaz. Diaz lost the ball to the Ducks as well. They now have the ball just beyond midfield. And they play one towards the penalty area, knocked away by Ryan Lehman over the touchline. Throw in for the Ducks, as well as a substitution for the Ducks. It's Jonas Melendez checking in for the Ducks. Checking out for Stevens is Andrew Masser, and checking in for the Dolphins was Juan Candela, replacing Youssef Ali.
You know, Joe, for the Dolphins, they're coming in. This is their 15th game of the year, and this is going to be their 12th home game, but they're going to finish the regular season with 3 road games coming up. So the Dolphins have had a lot of home cooking, get to finish the regular season out on the road.
And we've seen a lot of the Dolphins here at the CSI Soccer Complex this season. And there will only be, in all likelihood, 15 more minutes of soccer to be played here in this season at the CSI Soccer Complex, should the Dolphins fail to score a pair of goals and at the very least force extra time. Goal kick taken by Jake Foldis out toward midfield. It's Juan Candela getting his first touch. Passes it over to Nerman Cortesi, who redirects the ball up ahead along the far sideline, and giving chase to that one is Danny Nika. That one out over the touchline once again. Goal kick upcoming for the Ducks.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of a frustrating opportunity that time for the Dolphins, Joe. It looked like they had a little bit of space for one of the few times here in the second half, but their pass could not connect, and the ball went out of bounds for a free kick now for the Ducks, as they will have a substitution as Brett Holtzman will check into the game for the first time, and he will replace David Valiant.
So a substitution made by the Ducks just prior to the goal kick. It will be taken by Nicholas Casillas. And Cortesi got a foot on it for the Dolphins first at midfield. The ball was redirected back towards the Dolphins' goal by the Ducks. Giving chase there is Ruben Diaz, as well as Gerald Lamina for the Ducks. It will be a throw-in for the Ducks.
And at time, Abdul Nahadi was able to put enough pressure on Zumanski to force him to play the ball out over the sideline, and the Ducks will end up with another free throw-in with just under 14 minutes remaining in the game.
And that throw-in quickly redirected back out of play. It will be a throw-in for the Ducks, as they have not let up defensively here despite possessing a 2-goal lead late in the second half. Their aggressiveness has been there defensively from start to finish, and we haven't seen nearly as many fouls called against Stevens as we've seen against the Dolphins, but the Ducks have still managed to play with the same defensive intensity.
Yeah, Ducks have played a very good road game here this afternoon, and they were able to take advantage of that huge goal with just 4 seconds remaining in the first half, get that early goal in the second half, and really just try to clamp down defensively on the Dolphins.
And the Dolphins really controlled the last 20 minutes or so of that second half before that goal was scored by the Ducks. And it just hasn't seemed like the same team since. Really haven't had much pressure on Ducks goalkeeper Mitko Bazanov in the second half. I'm not sure the Dolphins have put a shot on goal in this second half.
Yeah, I don't think they have, Joe, officially.
They have not officially. as their shots on goal total stands at 2. It's 5 for the Ducks, who in the first half put 2 shots on goal themselves. So they've put 3 more on goal in this second half. One of those scored by Daniel Aversano. It's the Ducks with possession now, looking to work into the attacking third. That's Jacob Ulasevich. And out of play, throwing up coming for the Ducks. 12 minutes and 20 seconds to go here in the second half. And once again, that one's knocked away by a Dolphins defender. Throwing up coming once again for the Ducks, who can take their time here with a 2-goal lead. They're in no rush to make anything happen. Of course, we'll look to avoid any costly mistakes, which will allow the Dolphins to counter. That one's crossed into the box and punched away by Jake Foldis, as Tommy Dorsey comes away with it, and that one too long for the intended target, Gerald Lamina.
Reserve for the Dolphins, 8, Chris Lee.
As we will have a substitution for the Dolphins, it will be Chris Lee checking back in. He replaces Peter Hanna.
Yeah, Hanna very quiet here this afternoon, Joe, for the Dolphins. And a lot of that, you got to give credit to Stevens. They've really come out and played a very solid game here this afternoon.
Ruben Diaz has it for the Dolphins along the near sideline. He's being challenged by Jonas Melendez. And a throw-in is awarded to the Dolphins. The Ducks initially thought it would be their throw-in. The official says not so. Throw-in taken by Ruben Diaz.
Sorry, Joe, I thought they might have been right.
The Ducks come away with the ball now. It's rolled softly back towards their own goal and then cleared away by Nicholas Casillas. The Dolphins played it back ahead and now have possession, looking to enter the attacking third. Juan Candela got a foot on that one, but was dispossessed, and the ball is cleared away once again. Eric Condi moves up from his defensive back position to play it back ahead for the Dolphins. Condi once again has it and passes over to Mohamed Endow, who plays it ahead to Ali Fairs. Fairs moves in, has some space in the penalty area, crosses one in front, and no Dolphin could get a foot on it. And if they did, it did not get redirected on toward goal, as emerging from the pile with that one is Gerald Lamina. He crosses midfield. The Ducks have possession now. Easily the best chance of the second half for the Dolphins on that one. The Ducks look to counter quickly as they moved into the final third of the field with some speed. That was Danny Nasty for the Ducks, but the Dolphins come away with it once again. Ali Fairs passes ahead to Juan Candela, being challenged by Nikolai Figueroa.
Yeah, that last attempt is we're going to have a foul on the Dolphins, and that might be on Nika. But, Joe, that pass to Fairs looked like it was going to find an open space, but once again, a nice defensive play by the Ducks to deny the Dolphins on what was their best scoring opportunity, and an opportunity for the Dolphins to get back to within one, still looking for that big first goal.
Just over 9 minutes to go, and things are beginning to look very bleak for the Dolphins. The Ducks have been rock solid defensively throughout this entire match, and it's very difficult to envision the Dolphins putting 2 goals on the board now in just under 9 minutes to go. We'll see if they can get at least one here, as the Ducks have the ball right around midfield. Dribbling with it is Gerald Lamina. He plays it back over to Tommy Dorsey. Dorsey challenged by 2 Dolphins. He gets rid of it. Back ahead to Lamina, challenged by Endow. And Lamina will roll the ball back softly over to Nicholas Casillas, who cleared it away toward the Dolphins' goal. And Hadi Abdel Hadi takes one dribble and fires a shot wide.
Entering for the Ducks 9, Chris Cesario.
As we will have a pair of substitutions. First for the Ducks, entering is number 9, Chris Cesario.
And entering for the Dolphins 19,
replacing number 19, Gerald Lamina. Also a substitution for the
Yeah, he's going to replace Ollie Faz, Joe. Ollie walked off the field on the other side. So with just under 8 minutes remaining, the Dolphins trying to get on the board here in their final regular season game of the 2016 season here at home.
Free kick awarded to the Dolphins just off to the side of the midfield circle. It's Mohamed Endow who passes it softly ahead to Ryan Lehman. Endow then receives the ball back and quickly turns it over. Pass intercepted by Nick DeFelice of the Ducks. Ducks now on the attack. It's Jonas Melendez with the ball, plays it back. And then played ahead. Once again, that's Brett Holtzman who had it along the far sideline. Looking to regain possession for the Ducks along the far sideline. And gaining possession for them is Jonas Melendez. He rolls the ball back softly over to Casillas. With the ball now is Figueroa. He clears it up ahead toward the Dolphins' goal once again. And it will be a throw-in for the Dolphins as that one went out of bounds off Danny Nasty.
You know, Joe, we mentioned this is our final regular season broadcast for the men's soccer team, but, you know, we can't say enough that the men will be in action. Big playoff implications on the line this Saturday against Lehman College in the Bronx. Opening kickoff at 2:30, and really want to encourage everybody that can to make it out to the game. We won't have that game for you on Sportsnet, but I'm sure that you know, we're going to have a big crowd out there on what will hopefully be a nice Saturday afternoon.
And it's a huge game for the Dolphins, as we've already mentioned more than once during this broadcast, first during the pregame and then again during this match, as we'll talk more about that in a moment, with the Ducks threatening on the attack. That one crossed on the ground into the penalty area and cleared away by Ryan Lehman. Taking another look at the CUNYAC standings once again. Hunter atop the standings with 15 points. However, they have played one more conference game than the Dolphins, and the Dolphins own the tiebreaker over the Hawks. So should those teams finish with identical records, the Dolphins, of course, would receive the higher seed than the Hawks. Directly behind Hunter is Lehman College, the team that the Dolphins will be facing this weekend. That, of course, a huge game in determining tiebreakers and for immediate positioning in the CUNYAC standings. However, also up there with CSI at third in the standings, actually ahead of CSI by virtue of a tiebreaker, are the Beavers of CCNY. And CCNY, again, owns the tiebreaker over the Dolphins. So the Dolphins will need to, at the very least, see CCNY play to one game worse in their record for the remainder of the season in order to overtake them. And in all likelihood, the Dolphins will need to win out in order to finish with a top two position in the conference, overtaking Hunter and Lehman, and hopefully staving off CCNY and finishing ahead of them, maybe even securing the second spot just behind them, as that corner kick of the Ducks is punched away out of play by Jake Foldis. It will be another corner kick coming for the Ducks. Looks like it will be taken from the opposite corner this time.
Yeah, Joe, it's hard to imagine a scenario where the Dolphins could finish in the top two without winning their final two games. And the first one will be against a very tough Lehman team. And, you know, Lehman loves playing at home. They have that very unique soccer field with the baseball diamond in the middle of it and the grass field. So the Dolphins have played well at times and have struggled there at times. And, you know, we'll know a lot more on Saturday.
Corner kick taken by the Ducks, cleared away by the Dolphins. And in the grand scheme of things, you'd love to win a regular season CUNYAC championship if you're the Dolphins. However, winning out would ensure you a top two position and that bye straight into the CUNYAC tournament semifinals. So as much as you'd like to come in first in the conference, as that one, I believe, was a shot attempt fired way over the netting behind the goal, as we'll see another substitution for the Dolphins checking in.
Yeah, you know, Joe, as long as you finish in the top two, the semifinals and the finals are going to be at Brooklyn College anyway. And, you know, there's not so much strength in the number 3 or 4 position that finishing 1 or 2 makes that much of a difference. But you definitely want to finish in the top 1 or 2 because these CUNYAC teams are very close. And if you don't finish in the top 2, you're going to have to play in a quarterfinal game against a tough opponent.
Well, the Dolphins are poised to finish in the top 2. They control their own destiny in that regard. Will take on Lehman College, a game that the Dolphins in all likelihood will have to win to secure a top 2 spot. I actually believe they cannot finish better than third should they drop that game to Lehman College. I might be wrong about that, but taking a quick look at the standings, I believe that is the case. So a huge game upcoming this weekend for the Dolphins. And we did mention this is our last regular season broadcast here from the CSI Soccer Complex, but we hope to join you as well should the Dolphins advance deep into the CUNYAC tournament, into the final round. So hopefully this is not the last you hear of us if you're a fan of the Dolphins this season, and we hope to be with you should the Dolphins advance deep into the CUNYAC tournament's final round after that semifinal game, which they hope to gain a bye straight into.
Yeah, and, hopefully it'll be Sportsnet anchoring the coverage for the CUNYAC soccer tournaments, regardless of the teams involved. But, last year both the men and the women made it to the finals. The women's team was able to win the game. The men came up a little short, and hopefully both teams can make it again here in 2017.
Well, at the very least, it should be a very entertaining final 3 weeks or so of this CUNYAC soccer season. Big regular season games remaining for both the men and the women, as well as the CUNYAC tournament looming as well. Very exciting time here at the CSI Soccer Complex, as we'll see more substitutions for both teams coming in. Chris Lee checking out for the Dolphins. Eli Paparniku checks in. Looks like Ruben Diaz is making his way toward the sideline as well for CSI.
And, Joe, we should mention Hunter, just one game remaining. That will be against Brooklyn College this Saturday. Brooklyn College with 2 tough games remaining, as they will play against Hunter College on Saturday and then CCNY on Wednesday. So, Brooklyn College will have a big say in where the final standings go as well.
Still plenty to be decided in the CUNYAC for both the men and the women, as the men's regular season here at the CSI.
It was a back-and-forth game. The Dolphins came out struggling a little bit in the first half, and the Ducks really controlled the first 20 minutes or so. And, then, Joe, as you mentioned, the Dolphins played much better toward the end of that first half, but a tough foul called against Danny Nika. The correct call, not a tough foul in the sense that it was a bad call, but a tough foul in the sense that it was a bad foul committed by Nika, and that led to a free kick opportunity. The Ducks were able to parry the ball in front, headed across the goal mouth, and with just 4 seconds remaining, they scored the first goal of the game. And unfortunately, if you're a CSI Dolphin fan, Dolphins never really recovered from that and ended up dropping the game by a final score of 2-0. But the good news, Joe, if you're a CSI Dolphin fan, is the Dolphins are undefeated in their last 5 conference games. They control destiny in their own hands. They'll go out to Lehman College this Saturday afternoon with an opportunity to finish in first or second place. But it'll start Saturday, Joe. 2:30 start in the Bronx against Lehman College. If you're a Dolphin fan, get yourself out to the Bronx this Saturday afternoon.
Absolutely. I'm sure the team would love to see the fans out there in support of their team. And just a quick rundown of what we saw here this afternoon. One last time in the first half, a very back-and-forth game between these two teams. Early in the first half, it was the Ducks who really controlled play. Then later in the first half, the Dolphins began to control play a bit more, did a good job, got the majority of their opportunities later in that first half. However, it was the Ducks who capitalized on a Dolphins foul late in the first half, and that foul really highlighting the difference between these two teams. They both came out very aggressive on defense. However, the Ducks were able to play with that aggressiveness without fouling. The Dolphins unable to use that aggressiveness productively. Instead, that translated into what I believe would be over 20 fouls throughout the entirety of the game in the second half. The Ducks scored early, putting a second goal on the board. The first goal was scored by Jay McCullough with 4 seconds to go in the first half. Daniel Aversano scored the second goal for the Ducks, that one coming in the second half. And from that point forward, the Dolphins never really recovered. Our final score here from the CSI Soccer Complex this afternoon, the Ducks 2 and the Dolphins nothing. The Dolphins close their regular season here at home with a defeat. 2 huge conference matchups looming for them this season. One this weekend, this Saturday, October 15th against Lehman. Another next week on October 19th against John Jay. And this is Joe Foreman here from the CSI Soccer Complex, thanking you for watching and listening. For my colleagues Mike Babuski and our engineer Mishak Alexander, we thank you once again for watching and have a good evening. Our final score, the Ducks 2 and the Dolphins nothing here on the regular season home finale of CSI Dolphins men's soccer. We hope to see you again during the CUNYAC playoffs. Good evening, everyone.
Good job, Joe.